I've been making videos for almost a year now, and for the Halloween season, I thought it'd be appropriate to look back at the games I've played and single out one that really stuck with me. Hello, welcome back people to a different type of video, because today we are going to be retrospectively looking at the nightmarish world of BLOODSONG. I uploaded BLOODSONG on this channel on April 2nd, 2025, roughly about a month and change after I decided to constantly upload videos every day. What I didn't think I'd find was a beautifully crafted story with amazing accompanying visuals that stuck with me till today. With all that being said though, what is BLOODSONG about? Great question. Let's go ahead and get right into it. A visual novel through and through, the game begins with a calming image. The world outside a quiet window. The view of our main protagonist, and since none of the characters are ever named, I'll call them W, looks out from as the world around them slowly stirs. W wakes up sometime past noon, lying in bed next to a woman who I'll call R, and as they get up, the scenery instantly changes. Huh? Are we in hell? The two women conversate in an odd manner as W mentions they are stationed on the outskirts of town. W mentions how they'll find them soon. I'll delve deeper into what I think is happening in the analysis portion of the video, so just keep that in mind for now. With that alarming wake up, the pair wait till nightfall and venture out into the world, heading for the city. As they walk down the path connecting to the hideout, R pressures W into sharing a dream in which they had. W describes them both being on a school trip to a museum where they separate from the herd, walking up a hill. At the very top, the hill comes to a stop, and what awaits is a long drop all the way down to the foot of the building. They sit on the edge, and after some time passes, W begins to get up, which then causes R to thrust herself off of the cliff, and with a sharp thud, slams onto the pavement. The dream does not end there, as somehow W ends up carrying them into a building, and with a miraculous save from a doctor, R is back alive. The school trip continues as if nothing had happened and the dream ends. The pair continue, walking through the outskirts of the city, with mentions of men populating all these places carrying an atmosphere of uneasiness. During these ventures, there is a mention of R beginning a transformation. Keep that in mind, it will be important later. As the pair bicker on their surroundings, like any normal couple would, this happens. Hey! Look at the guy from Gravity Falls, bro. This monstrosity from another world inquires what the pair is doing, instantly taking off the signal that something is wrong. The monster attempts to tag along, but with quick deflection from W, the situation ends before it can escalate any further. The pair finally reach some sort of sanctuary in a decrepit building. They find themselves in a room, and while R goes to lay on the bed, we finally get a reveal of our main character. W wakes up not long after to an empty bed, and R is nowhere to be found. The phone rings, and on the other line, R responds mentioning they are at a bar. They ask for us to bring them their wallet, and soon after we arrive at the bar 3 blocks down. It is daytime now, and as we spot R in a crowd full of men, this haunting image reveals her true state. Hey! I don't like that. We try multiple times to pry R away from this bartender who she seems so fixated on, but to no avail. Finally, with a simple line of dialogue, the man reveals what truly has been happening this entire time. Ask him to leave. He's spoiling all the fun. With heartbreak in hand, W turns to leave, and just as the game ends, W speaks her mind. For one last time, to nobody but herself. My moon revels in the clarity, the bloodlight gone away. She is free to run. I can leave the city. I can go wherever I please. I feel the tear stains against my face. Giddy adrenaline makes love with my grief. Fuck. I want waffles. Now that I've summarized the basic plot of the game, and by the way, I did leave a lot of details out, but mainly for this analysis. I think the entire game is a trans allegory and the lengths people will go to satisfy their own needs. BLOODSONG can be interpreted in many ways, but I do believe the centerpiece it highlights is W and R's transformation over the story and how everything comes together in the end. It's not just one angle that took this story where it was going, but rather all the small build-up and details that it presents to you. That's where I think this story shines, and I'm just really excited to get into it. So for my first claim, I'm going to show you all the different small details that are sprinkled throughout the game, even before the ending's proclamation. Just after the pair discuss the dream, W says an interesting bit of dialogue that I initially portrayed as mindless banter. You are cradled by the distant stars. I am scorched. But with the context now in mind, the scene takes a whole different meaning. This is one of the first instances where R is already beginning to feel the pressure, setting up her detachment from W in the end. The imagery used here shows the love that R has for W, but her mind is already poisoning her thoughts about how this life might not be for her at all. It's that voice saying, "Leave before you get hurt." Once the pair finally reach the city, their bickering can be seen in a different light. Once again, if you take in the context that W is a trans woman and R is not, then the selfish nature of R can be fully explored. She doesn't seem at all that scared of the city, exploring its streets filled with prying eyes and deceitful mouths. But for W, who is already under much stress, the line is clear: hide or be hunted. Now, the only other character that we actually see in the game is the monstrosity that approaches us just before we find a place to stay. This is where I think there can be many interpretations for what it signifies, but I believe it represents the microscopic lens people are put under just because of their way of life. This monster carries a plethora of eyes of all sizes, making you feel small, as if instead of just one person watching you, it's a whole stadium. It makes you feel beneath, scared, uneasy, wondering if you're being talked to out of generosity or if there's an underlying reason just waiting to show itself. Up to this point, it was just W and R walking throughout the city minding their own business, but a single interaction with this creature immediately shifted something within them, a small crack. A fracture that will prove to be devastating. This next scene is where this game's writing shines the best for me, with many details showcasing how powerful dialogue can really be. R asks W if they wish they had stayed, with no context whatsoever, but again, with my claim in mind, this conversation begins to make much more sense. I believe this question has a double meaning. It could literally mean that if W wished to have stayed back at the hideout they were in the beginning, cowering without the possibility of living comfortably. But what I like to think it means is, does W wish they had stayed as a man before they had transitioned? Looking at it from this perspective gives the scene much more depth and characterization for both W and R. If you look back at how R has been acting all the way up to this question, it would make sense why now of all time she would ask this. W, on the other hand, is battling their own identity with all of these outside factors constantly pressuring them to adhere to what the world wants rather than what they want. Then R asks the game-defining question that will unravel everything that's to come. I wonder if it is worse for me or for you. This is when R fully shows her selfish, destructive nature that will unfortunately lead to the end of their relationship. With these two simple questions, R has already built a wall between them two. Doubt has been able to crawl into their mind and put at risk their own relationship. From the constant hiding, to the feeling of being hunted, to not knowing if you're gonna have a place to lay your head at night. It is a culmination of all these outside factors that pits R's pursuit to value their own needs versus their own heart. And finally, it all comes to a close at the bar, where R has finally made a decision. Their own safety, their own comfort, and all unfortunately at the cost of the relationship with W. They even show the slightest concern for W, but the desire is too strong and the emotion is wiped from their face. With that, the game closes, and with the haunting image of our main character, the pieces fall into place. This was a story about the two sides of a coin called change. One side, embracing their true self, wanting to be with a partner that no matter what the world throws at them, they will stand side by side, even if the world burns down. Somebody who just wants to be accepted for who they are, and even if they aren't, they will still have somebody by their side. Unfortunately, the other side of that coin is a desire to change, not by want, but by need. A message so melancholy that shows the true nature of how people are molded by the hate and misery of the world. of which no amount of love can keep you from pursuing your own interests. BLOODSONG I could talk hours about, trying to break down each dialogue line, each haunting description, its surreal imagery. There's so many details from dialogue to environmental descriptions that I wasn't able to fully fit into this video. So if you want to play the game for yourself and be immersed in the world of BLOODSONG, it is linked in the description. Amazing job, Elizabeth. Finally got the name right, because this game was truly one of those ones. This video was a blast to make, and it was very cool to go back and look how I've evolved over the course of the year, and I'm very excited about the future of this channel. I'll probably make another video like this sometime before the year ends. Maybe like a Christmas horror game could be decent. I don't know, we shall see. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. If you have any thoughts, concerns, or questions, make sure to leave them down in the comments. I love talking, as you can probably see, and I love learning, as you can also probably see. So don't take whatever I say as the definite answer. Play the game, make your own assumptions, make your own theories, make your own analysis. That's what art is for, and that's the beauty of it. With all that being said though, JXS till I die, always remember it, and thank you so much for watching.